Hello, my name is Mike Riley. I'm in San Diego, California, and I manufacture replacement parts, more specifically evaporators and condensers for SubZero refrigerators and freezers. And I have started making restoration kits available for refrigerators and freezers. SubZero has been having, as well as other service companies, authorized or even other ones. SubZero refrigerators and freezers, the 20, 30-year-old refrigerators and freezers, there's very few parts on them. Anybody that has experience on working on them knows that, operationally, you have a thermostat, defrost control, usually mechanical on the older ones, defrost timer, and no electronics on the 20, 30-year-old older ones. Some of them have some electronic displays when you get up to 20, but they don't have all the electronics that these new ones have, and the new ones are $10,000 to $18,000. And service companies are going in constantly and just condemning the units at 20 and 30 years old. Operationally, you've got a compressor, an evaporator, the heat exchanger, thermostat, the defrost control for the freezer, your evaporator fan motor, condenser fan motor, light switches. I mean, operationally, that's just about all the parts, door gasket that there are on the units. These things can be repaired forever. That's why I've started to make evaporators that are no longer available, manufacture them, so that we can keep these things operational. Customers, these new units are not only $10,000 to $18,000, but they're different sizes. And so people are having to remodel their kitchens, their cabinets. You got door panels on them that are custom door panels from the 20, 30-year-old ones that, could be thousands of dollars to make. And SubZero has, they don't care about what the cost is to the customer. They're going in, the service companies are going in, and this happens repeatedly, constantly. I get people contacting me where they're like, don't you have an option here? And yes, you do. And service companies, can you please start doing these customers right? The jobs are really straightforward. Typically speaking, if you have a compressor or seal system issue, especially most commonly, you got an evaporator that leaks because they were making the evaporators with the wrong metals. That's why I started manufacturing them properly with the right metal. 99% pure refrigeration aluminum. Anybody knows that any brand of refrigerator, GE, Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, the evaporators are all aluminum. They're not copper. Okay? Any brand, they're aluminum. The reason that they're aluminum is because they don't, the particular aluminum that you use or are supposed to use to make evaporators is corrosive resistant, extremely corrosive resistant, the most corrosive resistant material that can be used to make sure that the longevity of the evaporator is a long time. But when you start cladding the metals with copper, and which is really common in SubZero refrigerators and freezers, copper in there, copper is extremely corrosive, and it starts to pit corrosion holes, really tiny pit holes in the evaporators and the heat exchangers, and then there's a leak on the low side. And most experienced technicians are aware of this. You can recharge it and it'll last. We call it a 2-year leak. It can last for 6 months, a year, whatever. And then you got to go recharge it again because there's a leak. But the problem is every time it leaks, Freon travels around through that system, but it also carries oil with it. And so when it's leaking on the low side, it won't pull it back to the compressor, all the oil. And it starts depositing it in the evaporator, and then it plugs it up, and there's no recharging it anymore. You got to replace the evaporator. You can't get it out of there because of the thickness of it. You could try to pour it out, but it won't all come out. Anybody that's tried, they know what I'm talking about. It's not a successful attempt. So you got to replace the evaporator. So when you do that, the R12 systems, there's plenty of videos on my channel here about R12 and 134A. I'm not going to go deep into it, but unfortunately, too many technicians out there misunderstood when they came out with R134A that you can't. It's correct. You cannot put R134A in with an R12 compressor and R12 oil. That's correct. They're incompatible. That's not the repair. The repair is to do what they were doing in the car industry in 1991. And the rest of us technicians that didn't misunderstand what they said have been doing since 1991. And that's to replace the compressor to an R134 equivalent BTU equivalent compressor for 134A with a new R134A oil in it, just like in the cars. They call it retrofitting in the cars. You blow out the system, but most of the oil is in the compressor. So when you pull the R12 compressor out, the oil is going with it. The other components, there's nothing engineered differently in the evaporator or the heat exchanger. Nothing is different from R12 to 134A refrigerators or freezers. There's nothing different. Thermodynamics, nothing's different. So all you're doing is replacing that compressor with the proper new, more efficient R134A compressor that's equivalent to the BTUs of that original compressor. And I have all those in my restoration kits and on my websites. And I supply all those R134A replacements. And then replace the heat exchanger and evaporator. It's always best to do that, 20, 30 years old. Replace them both. And put a new dryer on it. And there's nothing magical about you're not going to get sludge. You're not going to get sludge. It's not going to happen. Because the R12 compressor is no longer in there with the R12 oil. Okay? That's the issue, guys. Please get off that bandwagon. It was the wrong information. People just misunderstood it. Techs misunderstood it, and they've been carrying it for 30 years. You got to upgrade it to an R134A compressor and R134A oil, which comes with the compressor. You don't add it in. You don't add oil. You don't do anything. You just replace the compressor. Okay? So, and then blow the system out, put a dryer on it, and replace the evaporator heat exchanger, recharge it by pressure, and the system is just like one coming off the assembly line right now, 134A. It cools efficiently, much more efficient because it has a new compressor, 134A compressor. It's pumping the right Freon, you're not putting in blendeds or hot shot or the wrong Freon for the compressor. You can't put other Freons in that the compressor is not designed for. R12 compressors are designed to compress R12, not hot shot and blended Freons and everything else. They don't work efficiently. You're doing a disservice to the customer by leaving that or putting in an R12 compressor. A total disservice. You're ripping them off is what you're doing. You have to upgrade them to the more efficient 134A compressor with the R134A oil in the compressor. It comes that way. If you're experienced, you know that. Okay? So I need technicians out here around the country to work with me to get these units repaired for these customers and stop balking on them and telling them, oh, you got to buy a new one. It's a $800, $600, $800, $1,200 repair, labor only, because I supply the parts and I warranty the parts. So you or the customer is going to have the restoration kit, compressor, evaporator, heat exchanger, dryer, supplied by myself, paid by me, by the customer, or even by you as a service company. But don't rip them off by trying to run up the price on it. Okay, that's why I'm providing it to customers to try to keep the repairs down, so that basically you don't need to rip them off on the price of the parts. You're already going to get $600, $800, $1,200 for the repair. That's a good day's work. Okay, and I don't want anything for the referral. It's free referral. I want people in all areas of the United States, service companies, to contact me. And if you're not sure about the 134A, I'll walk through it with you. I've been doing the repairs myself as a service company for over 40 years. Well, as far as the 134A conversion from R12, I've been doing it for over 30 years, since R12 was banned, 1996. So, and I've never had one issue, not one. And other companies and other techs that I've had work for me have done the repair as well, the conversion, never an issue, because the R12 compressor with the R12 oil is removed. That's the issue. You can't leave that in and put R134A in and have the R12 compressor be pumping 134A with the bad oil that's not compatible with 134A. That won't work. That was the only issue they were talking about 30 years ago. They weren't talking about you can't convert it and get rid of the R12 compressor and put a 134A compressor in. Yes, of course you can. We've been doing it for 30 years. So is the car industry. They've done billions of cars. Never an issue. Ask any car AC mechanic. No issues at all. But they have to put a new filter. They call it something different in their units, and blow the system out. Okay. So I need service companies to contact me. In all areas, all towns, all areas, so that when I sell parts to the customers, then I have your referral that I can get a hold of you, or the customer can get a hold of you, and you'll be fair with them. I mean, $600, $800, $1,200, that's good labor for this job. Y'all know that. Okay? It takes a while. It could take 4 to 8 hours, whatever. It's a good day's work if you got to pull it out of the wall. And they're easy to move when you pull them out. Sometimes you got to step up from the floor, maybe a ½ inch. That's usually the only issue, is getting it up on that floor about a ½ inch. You just push it back to do it. Push it back and have it pulled from the bottom. And it lifts up the front and right up onto the floor and out. It's not difficult to do. Take the top off it, and you have access to the compressors. And some customers, I say, you know what? If you're doing it at 30 years old, and you're doing the refrigerator because it's down and it's not operational, it's not cooling, you might consider doing both of them. At the same time, you'll save labor while tech's there. So you could end up with doing both restoration kits on both the refrigerator and the freezer and restore the whole unit. And, you know, if you add the restoration kits are anywhere from, say, $500 to $800, depending on whether it's a refrigerator or freezer, evaporator, and the compressor, and all 4 components, heat exchanger and evaporator and compressor and dryer. And then add the labor onto that, $500 to $800. Then the labor, $600 to $1,200. Even if it was $1,200, and $800 for the parts, that's $2,000. They're getting quotes for $4,500, $4,300, double what the proper pricing is. They want to do the repairs. I just had a guy just now just contact me again. All day long, I have customers contacting me. Thank you for getting this information out here and setting the record straight. I just about had to pay $15,000 for a new refrigerator, and because everybody's telling me I can't fix the old one. And he said it's in beautiful shape, which they usually are. So, guys, it's a big money maker. I mean, you could do 5 of these in a week, 5 days a week, one a day, $1,200. Look how much money you're making. That's a week. Okay? So, $6,000 in a week. A week. Just by doing 5 of them. If it was $1,200 labor, and you don't have to deal with the parts. I do the warranty on the parts. I ship out the parts to them. I take care of everything. And I'm a service tech and company of 40 years. I have a training company. I've been training techs come in from all over the world for the last probably 20 years. I have a training school I've had for about 10 years. It's appliancerepairtechschool.com. My service company is abaappliance.net. AB as in boy, abaappliance.net. The parts, one of the parts dedicated to just the restoration kits is restoreyoursubzero.com. And then my website that I have all the parts for SubZeros, whatever parts you need, I can get for you. And that's refrigerator part replacements.com. Refrigerator part replacements.com. That's and if something's not on the website, it's by model and serial lookups on the website. If it's not on there, email me. I'll get back to you right away, and I get back to you right away. And I can get it and send you an invoice to pay for it and get it out to you 2-3 days, 3 or 4 days at the most usually. The only delay is gaskets right now, still, and that could be weeks to months, depending on the gasket. And all this distribution channel with all these ships out at the ports. I think everybody's seen the news. They're all backed up in the ports. They're talking Christmas, get your gifts early because they're not sure anything's going to be in the stores because there's no drivers, there's no trucks anyway, so I need technicians that know what they're doing. Even if you're it's not ideal, but I can walk you through what you need to do. If you have training in air conditioning, or even with brazing, usually that's not a car AC guy because you don't do brazing. You got rubber hoses and compression fittings and stuff. But or if you're a welder or you brazed before, or you want to do your own, contact me. I've done repairs on Zoom with guys, and I can walk you through everything. Thing is, you need the tools to be able to do the job. You know, you need a vacuum pump. You need the torches. You need the specialty tools, and it could be thousands of dollars to get to that point. So it's not ideal for just anybody to be a YouTube user and fix their own refrigerator sealed system. Okay, it's just not that simple. This is not a YouTube user type of a repair. You need special thousands of dollars worth of tools and experience. So technicians, service companies, contact me. I know what I'm talking about. If you have questions about it and you're still not clear about the R12 to 134A conversion, you're getting rid of the R12 and compressor and R12 oil. That's the key. That's the incompatibility to R134A. Nothing else. Not the evaporator, nothing else. Okay? So that should make, for any experienced techs, right there, just saying that, should just about clear it up for you. Okay? And anything more, I can definitely walk through everything with you, and tell you how to best to blow it out and all that kind of stuff. But it's not even a big deal blowing it out, because most of the oil's in the compressor. Or if it gets, there's a leak and some of it gets in the evaporator, there's some in the evaporator. But it doesn't stay in the lines. And once you blow it out and then evacuate it, it's gone. That's simple. You don't need a cleaner. It's gone. Okay? And you're just like new. So contact me. I really need to work with some good service companies out there. And like I said, I don't want anything for the referral. It's a free referral. Just treat this customer right, or you won't get any additional referrals in the future if you rip them off. If you don't know what you're doing, I'll help you. I'm not one to tell you what to do. Okay? I'm going to tell you that right up front, because techs don't like to be told what to do. We all kind of know what we're doing, right? Well, all I'll do is share some tips and tricks with you that makes the job a little bit easier if there's any questions that you have, about just like the capillary tube and all that kind of stuff, whatever it is. So I'm not going to talk down to you. I'm a trainer. I just want it to be successful, and I will do whatever I can to help you out to make sure that happens for the customer. The bottom line here is these customers, they just don't deserve to be paying $10,000 to $18,000 and then remodeling their kitchen for another $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000. They don't. That's ridiculous. And this is what SubZero and so many service companies are telling them to do. Not everybody has all that kind of money. Are you kidding? So guys, service companies, make some money. It's right there in front of you. And the repair is simple. It's just like putting a regular compressor in. If it was R12 to R12, it's no different. It isn't, honestly. I'll explain that to you more if you need me to. So stop with the fear of sludging. It doesn't exist if you know what you're doing. And you take the R12 compressor out with the R12 oil. That's the amount of it. That's knowing what you're doing. There's nothing else you have to know. And blow it out. Put a dryer on it and recharge it. There's no magic. It's that simple. It's a regular repair. But everybody's fearful of it because of the wrong information people have misunderstood for 30 years. Okay? So get a hold of me. Like I said, my name is Mike O'Reilly. I've been in the business, in my own service company for over 40 years. I'm very customer oriented. I don't turn down jobs. I just don't do it. If something needs to be fixed, I can always fix it. This is a case of there's nothing magical. It's just replacing the compressor, the heat exchanger, the dryer, and recharging it, blowing it out, evacuating it, and recharging it. It's a normal repair. Okay? All right. So you can email me or get a hold of me on my website. Like I said, SubZero.com is one of the websites for the restoration kits, which are compressor, evaporator, heat exchanger, and dryer. And then there's certain models listed on there. If you have a different model, just tell me the information, model and serial, and we can come up with a restoration kit for you. I'm focusing on the 20 and 30-year-old ones on the websites because those are the ones that everybody's balking on, and SubZero's telling everybody, and so many companies telling customers to buy new ones, and it's ridiculous. Don't need to, and they don't want to. They want to give you money. They want to give you $600, $800, $1,200 to restore it for them. Put those 4 components in. If you do more than that, put a thermostat in because it's 30 years old. That's not a bad idea. I even have those added in different kits, restoration kits, including there's a complete, what's called a complete, It has the thermostat, the evaporator fan motor, and the condenser fan motor, and the gasket, and with the sealed, all the sealed systems also, and that's the complete restoration. So the whole unit's restored, so they can last another 20 years. These things are so straightforward and simple, and they last forever. The cabinets, they stay in great shape, and they shouldn't be $10,000 to $18,000. We're not even going to get into that, but SubZero is sure taking advantage of the customer. So I'm trying to sell these new ones, and I want to avoid that for the customers. Let's get this back into our court of servicing them rather than them having to buy new ones, and that's what we're in the business to do. Okay, so work with me, contact me. Doesn't matter what state or city or whatever you're in. I have customers all over the world that want to buy parts and fix their SubZeros. So wherever you are, contact me. I'll get you put on the list. And actually, I have two service company listings also that I'll add you to on websites. The customers can go there and find you in the listings, and they're free. I don't want anything from you monetarily. I just want to work with you to get the customer taken care of. Okay? So you're not going to ever pay me anything. The website listings are free. I just want to have that utility to be able to have customers ask me about a service company in their area, and I say, so-and-so would be happy to do the repair for you because you've contacted me and told me your information and you want to do the repairs and help out and get these customers taken care of. Okay? All right. So I don't want to keep going here. I hope you contact me soon. Don't hesitate. There's no tricks, nothing. It's just, I just want to get you hooked up with the customers so that you can get them back in business and their units fixed, and they're happy and they saved a lot of money, and you make a lot of money on the repair with labor. Okay? All right, take care. And contact me as soon as possible, okay? All right. Thank you.